Welcome back to Real Life Reviews, and in this video we're going to take a look at the New Balance FuelCell SC Elite version 3. And in this video we'll make one or two little comments, comparisons to the version 2. This is a step up obviously, and also I've got with me my Nike Alpha Fly, and I'm going to make one or two comparisons between them. They in many respects are very much a similar shoe, but there are one or two differences, and should you be in the market for one or the other, you might want my opinion as to which shoe is probably slightly better suited for which type of running. And before we go any further, yes, it's a long name. SC stands for Super Comp, before everybody starts asking what the SC is. The first point I want to make about this shoe is more generic than anything. This is potentially, it's a triathlon channel, although we do look at running, swimming, biking as individual activities as well, and a little bit of mountain biking. And something that I've noticed over the years is that the concept of a triathlon shoe has almost disappeared. The idea where your Asics Gel Noosa was the tri shoe, etc. And what you're seeing now is more and more shoes with features that lend themselves to triathlon, but don't specifically sell themselves as a triathlon shoe. So, bearing that in mind, this shoe ticks a number of the boxes. It's got a heel loop so that you can pull on at the heel. It's also got a bit of a tongue loop that your lace goes through that is big enough to get your finger in and tug on. So you can have a front and rear pull and pull the shoe on. So it ticks that box. The other really good box it ticks is it's what I refer to as a booty construction for the tongue, i.e. it doesn't really have a tongue. It has a sock that's stitched in to the upper and is fixed there. And we've made comment before about some of these tongues with a hole in them or a loop in the top middle, and you pull it and the tongue goes from flat, it curls, you can put it on and it's tucked under on top of your foot. It's really uncomfortable. You then waste time flicking it out. And I'm a real fan of these booty construction running shoes. It's fair to say Nike have a similar process there. They've got a booty type construction. So the first thing is that, yeah, it's a running shoe, and a lot of the literature you'll read will tell you it's a marathon shoe. I think it suits all distances, but we'll come a bit more to that in a short while. But I would class this as a triathlon shoe. It's not the quickest to get on, simply because of the type of shoe it is. It's got quite a small entry and it holds quite well here. However, if you're doing longer course, so 70.3 full Ironman, I would definitely be recommending this shoe from that perspective. So I've already mentioned a few elements of this shoe. The upper, again, it's really lightweight, it's really soft, it's extremely breathable. It feels a little bit firmer than the Nike, but actually I think most of that is down to the overlay of the New Balance logo that's coming over here. So I think the mesh, the knit mesh that's the upper, is excellent. It's lightweight, it's very breathable, no problems with that at all. I'm very used to working with that sort of construction. Moving down the shoe, we've got New Balance's 2-layer FuelCell. It's really quite bouncy as a midsole, although I would say the Nike is the bouncier, I think it is. So if what you want is that really plush bounce off, the Nike probably just pips it. Having said that, this is really good. So we've got that 2-layer FuelCell foam, and in it then, between what we've got what New Balance call their innovative, everybody's going to say that, aren't they? But their innovative Energy Arc fibre plate. Now, we can talk about lots of other aspects of this shoe. The aspect that I really think is the big sell for this shoe is the rocker plate point of the shoe. And it sits at a point, for me, and I'll talk about sizing in a moment, it sits at a point for me that if you mid-foot strike, it naturally takes you into your forefoot and push off. Whereas I think the Nike is probably slightly better suited for someone that is striking slightly further forwards and towards the forefoot. Now, where does that lead me into speed and type of running? I think the Nike, if you are a really quick runner, and I've worn this Nike from parkrun 5Ks, which is just stunning, I must say, all the way through to last marathon I did in it was the Maastricht Ironman. So I've done the whole gamut. I've not done an ultra in it, but I've done a marathon and I've done everything in between down to 5K. So it is, I think, the quickest shoe, and we're talking minute differences here, if you are a very quick runner. If you're if you're at my level, and I don't rate myself as a quick runner, this shoe for the longer distance, I think from what I've used so far, and to be fair, I'm up to just about 50 miles, it puts me in a position that enables me to run quicker, more so than the Nike. And that's purely, in my opinion, as to where the rocker plate actually rocks you, where your strike is on the shoe. So if I was to really simplify this, 5K, I'd wear the Nike. Marathon, I'd wear the New Balance. In between, New Balance for a half, probably Nike for Olympic and less. But that's being a little bit picky because they're both awesome shoes. Numbers then. Well, we've got a 4 mil drop, and this is probably what many people will say is the biggest difference between the version 2 and the version 3. The version 2 was an 8 mil drop. This is a 4 mil drop, and I do wonder if that lessening of the drop is partly to do with the rocker plate element that I've just mentioned, and not quite having it what you want is happening from the rocker plate rather than the drop and where your strike is going. So we've got a reduced drop, 4 mil, and that's going from a 40 mil heel stack to a 30 mil forefoot stack. In terms of gait, it's a neutral. It does have some nice good arch support as well, and it's width D on New Balance's scale. Again, I don't particularly think I have wide feet, although lots of shoes that are narrow I cannot get on with, and I'm very happy with this width D. It's very comfortable and it gives me over longer distance a bit of room to swell. Now let's just take a look at the scales and compare the weight, or let's weigh this and compare it to the Alpha Fly, which we know is a very light shoe. Here we are with the scales zeroed. On goes the New Balance, and we have 218 grams. Let's take it off, make sure it zeros properly, and on comes the Nike, and we have 215. I thought it was going to stick at 16, but 215 grams. Wow, 2 to 3 grams difference. There we go then. Very, very little in between them, and I challenge anyone to notice that 2 to 3 gram difference that you've effectively got between these shoes. What else then about this shoe? Well, it's got really quite a nice wide platform, and I think it strikes a really good balance between stability with the width of the platform and also agility with the foam and the way the shoe is balanced. So I think you're getting the point here, my drift. I do like this shoe. If I were to be forced into a couple of conclusions between these and where they stand out, the Zoom X foam I think is plusher and bouncier than the FuelCell. However, I think the rocker plate in the New Balance, for me, in my style of running, is better than the rocker plate, the carbon plate on the Nike. Perhaps finally, in terms of the construction, we've got some nice areas in yellow here where we've got the harder wearing for the sole for a bit of longevity. The jury's still out on these shoes with regard to the foam as to really what distance we should expect from them. And I guess if we start with 250 miles as a number, we're probably not going to get disappointed, and then they'll go into the training locker. Quick summary then. Well, heel loop, tongue loop, although it's not a tongue, it's a booty fit, so great for no sock. 2-layer FuelCell foam, really nice and plush. Great carbon plate with a brilliant rocker position for your running, particularly if you're not world class. Nice width, stability, stable and agile, with some good protection for that mid foam on the sole. Breathable, very lightweight. What a great road running shoe that will cover any distance, but for me particularly that half marathon to marathon distance, fantastic. If you'd like to buy this shoe, well, we've got a link to Wiggle in the description down below, and if you go through that link, you pay no more. In fact, you often get some great deals, and the channel just gets a tiny bit in return, and that helps keep the channel going. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like, give it that thumbs up, and share it with your friends. If you've not yet subscribed, well, please do. Click on the little round picture just down there, and then up there we'll put the Nike Alpha Flies. Up there we'll put the Hoka Speedgoat 5s, and down here we'll put the Asics Gel Noosa for you to have a look at. Thank you.